The top surface is flat enough to walk across. Early photographs show people standing there without ropes, without anchors, without fear of collapse. The edge is clean, not sharp, but controlled. There is no cone, no peak, no gradual taper, just a sudden stop. Whatever rose above it is no longer there, and the surface left behind does not look accidental. The accepted explanation describes the structure as an igneous intrusion, a mass of magma that cooled underground and was later exposed as softer material eroded away. It is presented as slow, natural, and complete. That explanation accounts for the hardness of the stone and the vertical columns along the sides. But it does not account for the flat termination at the top, or why erosion would stop so evenly at a single plane. Erosion does not usually leave tables. It rounds edges. It fractures peaks. It scatters debris. Here, the surrounding landscape is relatively smooth, and the structure rises from it like a leftover. If millions of years of weather carved this form, the process appears unusually precise. The scale complicates things further. The structure rises more than 800 feet from the plane. The diameter at the top exceeds 1,000 feet. The vertical columns extend from base to summit without interruption. These proportions resemble containment rather than formation. They suggest limits, not growth. Human figures at the base appear small, not just in height but in relevance. The structure does not feel designed to be looked at from the ground. Its most curious feature is not visible from below. It is the top, the part that no longer continues. Once this detail is noticed here, it becomes harder to ignore elsewhere. Flat-topped mesas appear across different regions, labeled differently depending on location. Volcanic necks, buttes, eroded plateaus. The names change, but the geometry repeats. Vertical sides, broad, level tops, surrounding terrain that looks removed rather than collapsed. In the 1800s, surveyors described this structure with uncertainty. Their notes focus on access, symmetry, and absence of debris. Some mention the surface being worn smooth, not cracked. Others remark on the lack of loose stone around the base. These observations exist, but they are not emphasized in later interpretations. Native accounts recorded during the same period describe the structure as something remaining, not something formed. Translations vary, but the language points backward. It refers to what was left, not what rose. These descriptions are preserved, but they are separated from geological analysis, treated as cultural rather than observational. Around the late 1870s, documentation changes. Photographs become more technical. Measurements are standardized. At the same time, the questions narrow. Earlier reports ask how such a shape could exist. Later ones assume the answer and stop asking. If erosion removed the surrounding material, the volume should be visible somewhere. Sediment should accumulate. River systems should reflect the loss. But nearby plains do not show deposits consistent with that amount of removal. The absence is larger than the explanation. Close examination of the surface reveals circular banding. Geology attributes this to mineral variation during cooling. That explanation is sufficient, but the pattern aligns concentrically, centered on the structure itself. The repetition feels organized rather than random. Tree stumps, when fossilized, retain internal structures. Growth rings, radial cracks, patterns that tell time through expansion. The resemblance is not exact, but it is uncomfortable, especially when scale is considered. During the 19th century, industrial logging transformed landscapes. Entire forests disappeared within decades. Records track timber shipments, sawmills, rail lines. The documentation is extensive. Yet descriptions of massive trees diminish abruptly in certain regions. Forests appear reduced between surveys without detailed explanation. The idea of something once taller introduces a problem of scale. If the structure is a remnant, the missing portion would have been enormous. Too large for common narratives. Too large to fit comfortably into existing timelines. By the early 1900s, the interpretation stabilizes. The structure is classified, labeled, explained. Informational plaques are installed. The language becomes confident. Earlier sketches and questions are archived, not refuted, simply set aside. Questions about the top surface rarely appear in modern summaries. The flatness is treated as incidental. The symmetry is assumed natural. The absence above is not addressed. What kind of process removes everything above a certain height and leaves the remainder intact? What kind of time scale smooths a surface without rounding it? What kind of past leaves behind a form that resembles function without context? The structure stands alone on the plane, not because it rose higher than its surroundings, but because everything else is gone. Whether that absence is natural or not is never resolved. The records do not close the gap. If this feels unfinished, you can quietly like, comment, or subscribe, and continue noticing what remains unexplained.